I would say Benavidez, but he's too, you know, that weight class is too high for him. So, you know, where he's at now is great.
David, Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
Nah, I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'm at 175.
And Terence Crawford.
No,
yeah.
man.
No, we ain't doing that fight. Maybe planning on vacating the belts?
No, we ain't gonna vacate the belts.
Coach Brian Bomac McIntyre sparked debate after the fight when he was asked about Turki Alalshikh suggesting that Terence Crawford should face David Benavidez next. Bomac quickly rejected the idea and said Crawford does not need a fight like that at this stage. Now,
We need to sit for a minute and then, just like I said, get back in the gym and do our thing.
Ennis? Absolutely.
And he don't want none.
he also made it clear to fans by saying that fighting Boots Ennis would not benefit Canelo because Terence Crawford is on a completely different level compared to Ennis.
Performance prove about the Ennis sparring. You guys were largely
I told you
silent
it don't
about
make no difference. Didn't I say it?
You know,
I said
I
that don't mean shit. I don't give a damn about that.
Yeah.
I said that, didn't I?
Yeah,
In one of those interviews, I said that. Don't mean shit, because he's no Bud Crawford. I'm not taking nothing from Ennis, you know, Bozy, them over there, them my guys. Shit, but bringing in that, which is good for Canelo, but it didn't do no good in the fight.
The entire David Benavidez situation began when Turki Alalshikh, a major figure in Saudi boxing, posted a message only hours after Terence Crawford's big victory. He congratulated Terence Crawford on his historic win and for securing the undisputed super welterweight title, noting that Crawford became the first fighter to be undisputed in 3 different divisions. He also thanked Saul Alvarez Canelo for delivering a great performance. Then he raised a question that instantly set social media on fire by asking if David Benavidez could still make the 168-pound limit. Greg Hackett later addressed the sudden talk about a possible Terence Crawford versus David Benavidez fight. He explained that this was not a final decision tied to any previous matchup and suggested the rumors were fueled more by money and attention than by fairness. Hackett added that Crawford does not need Benavidez to remain relevant and warned that Benavidez could seriously harm his body by trying to drop back to 168 after moving up to 175.
Test his limits, and they think the money is going to keep getting him out there. That fight is pointless. The fight is pointless because nobody ever talked about that fight until now. And then I don't feel like Bud needs a Benavidez. And then that would mean Benavidez would have to go into a different body and bring himself back down to 68 when he's already getting settled in at 175.
Hackett then explained that the back and forth between Crawford and Benavidez was mostly exaggerated. In his view, Turki Alalshikh was using the rumors to showcase his marketing skills. He did add that fights can still be exciting when they are about the sport and not just for show.
He does have some tough tasks in front of him that he want to conquer before even talking like that. I don't even think he want to talk like that because there's really no point. He wanted the Canelo fight because Canelo was the man at 68 and he was at 68. I don't think he cared about fighting Bud, and I don't think Bud cared about fighting Benavidez. That's just Turkey trying to pull rank. So Turkey trying to show he got a golden arm.
One question fans had about Crawford was whether he could move up to a higher weight class. Many experts called him a 4-division world champion, but that wasn't entirely accurate. Show the Adult, a boxing commentator and YouTube analyst, often questioned whether Crawford's record truly deserved all the attention. Some people have always argued that he hasn't faced enough top-level opponents or fully proven himself against the best in the sport.
Is top 4 greatest fighters of all time. Do you understand how improbable this is? I thought Bud had no chance. I lost 20 grand. Not only is Terence Crawford on my Mount Rushmore, like I've said, if he were to win, because the probability of him winning against all the odds, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see how at all.
The story didn't highlight the positive aspects of this historic fight, which left one of the sport's most famous fighters gaining weight and struggling. Crawford managed to make even his toughest critics reconsider his influence. In the hours after the fight, Chobis captured the change on video so that no one would forget it.
He put together that guy. He can face anybody in history and be a problem. Him right there. Not only that, I think this cements the fact that everybody avoided him. This right here answers everything. Not only is Terence Bud Crawford on my Mount Rushmore, but everybody avoided him. And that sheds more light on how he beat Errol Spence.
Crawford aimed to become the first boxer to hold all 4 major belts in 3 different weight classes, but had to move up to 168 pounds and win all 4 titles. No one else has achieved that record. So even though Crawford wasn't truly a four-division undisputed champion, he still accomplished remarkable feats that made him stand out. Many were surprised when Canelo Alvarez spoke boldly at the press conference after losing to Terence Crawford by majority decision. Instead of dodging the question, he praised Crawford and admitted he was the better fighter.
Compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Veteran boxing journalist Dan Rafael shared his thoughts on the fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. According to Rafael, who has covered the sport for decades, what impressed him most was Crawford's ability to take control in the later rounds. He noted that Canelo had performed better in the early rounds.
I thought it was close. I had Canelo ahead in the early going, but I thought Crawford did an amazing job closing that fight down in the last few rounds, where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance.
Rafael's comments further highlighted the significance of Crawford's victory in boxing history. He explained that while Crawford hadn't actively sought this fight, it was a matchup he had wanted and worked hard to make happen. Rafael also noted that Crawford rarely had opportunities to face bigger opponents because many people believed such fights were unlikely.
He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that. Canelo, because everybody who has ever read me, followed me, listened to me knows I love Canelo. I think he's one of the greats of all time. I think you can make a really good argument that he's the greatest Mexican of all time, even more than Chavez. That said, he is in decline. He's been in decline for the last few years. He hasn't been what we've seen him at his best since he beat Caleb Plant. That Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Sanders time frame. And, even though he's winning fights, the knockouts haven't happened. He's gotten tired in the later part of the fights, and it's just common. It's the oldest saying in boxing: "Father Time is on the."
Famous boxing reporter and ringside commentator Sean Zittel discussed Terence Crawford's rising fame since his win over Canelo Alvarez. Zittel said he has long recognized Crawford as an excellent boxer. In 2017, he even named Crawford the best pound-for-pound fighter, but he had never placed him among the sport's all-time greatest stars.
For #1 pound for pound back in 2017, I always acknowledged him as the best counterpuncher in the game, one of the great counterpunchers, but I didn't see him as Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson. I didn't see him as that. I saw him as the tier of greats right below that. Oscar, Shane, Mike McCallum, guys like that. And it turns out, no. He's with the best of the best.
Zittel then criticized some aspects of Crawford's technique in the fight against Canelo. He felt that Crawford absorbed Canelo's power easily and displayed a level of punch resistance unmatched in this weight class. Zittel added that Canelo lost his rhythm during the fight, while Crawford opened the third and fourth rounds with a jab and gradually took full control of the match.
Effect on Crawford, I know Crawford felt it, but he had good punch resistance. He came up in weight beautifully. And then as time went on, his jab and his length, it's around that third and fourth round really started to give Canelo fits. And then #1, his bread and butter, his gift. Yes, he's got great tactics, great distance control, efficient footwork. He doesn't, and he took the air out of the ball when he wanted to in this fight.
Before the fight, it was clear that Canelo Alvarez would rely on his size, experience, and strength to gain an advantage. Fans were curious because Canelo had been a champion before and knew how to handle pressure, even at super middleweight. After losing to Terence Crawford, Canelo addressed his fans on Instagram. He didn't complain but accepted the loss and reflected on the future. He shared his pride in his team's efforts, the sacrifices they had made, and his gratitude to family and friends who had always supported him. He especially thanked his wife Fernanda for staying by his side. In his post, he wrote that while winning is always the goal, he was ready to learn from this loss and felt he had already won because of the support of his family and friends. Meanwhile, the victorious and experienced Terence Crawford showed a rare moment of anger during the post-fight news conference. He lashed out at a reporter who had criticized him and seemed frustrated by fans mocking the situation. This was more than just a fight. Crawford was confronting the narrative the media had built about him for years.
A 3-time undisputed champion, the first ever in the 2, 3, or 4 belt era, and you became the second undisputed champion in 3 weight classes when there was only one champion back in 1938 with Henry Armstrong. That's a lot of stuff.
You hear that? You hear that?
Boxing experts and reporters had told Crawford years ago that he wasn't exciting, couldn't attract fans, and was just another fighter. At the press conference, Crawford addressed these claims loudly because he is now on the sport's biggest stage and has proven his critics completely wrong.
And all of it, it all goes hand in hand.
Can you describe what it all means to you to have, you just made like a whole resume of stuff tonight.
It means a lot to me because, you know, anybody can be a nobody, like I said, you know, and that's all they say I've been fighting is nobodies. So what can they say now?
When Canelo, the clear champion, stepped into the ring to defend his title, everything was at stake. It wasn't just the belts, but his reputation too. A loss would mean giving up his status as king and leaving the arena without the fame that had defined him. In the end, Crawford won by unanimous decision and became the undisputed middleweight champion. This defeat cost Canelo all his belts in the division and affected his place in history as the undisputed king. Shortly after, Joe Pataya, the Australian cruiserweight world champion, spoke out with respect, saying he had given Crawford credit for the fight and believed the result was obvious.
Listen, though, too smart. Like, what a technician.
Are you shocked or not?
Not at all. Not at all. That's how I pictured the fight going. So I'll picture the fight going that way. Man, impressive. You know what I mean? Coming up from all those weight divisions. Hit and don't get hit. That's the aim of the game. Yeah. Puts him differently in their list, but he's in everyone's list. You know what I mean? He's deserved his respect. He's one of the greats. And that Crawford name, that last name, that's written down in history. So, good on him.
He then spoke about Crawford's rising reputation, saying that although it was still developing, the Nebraska star's name is now officially among the all-time greats in boxing. Otaya added that Crawford has earned respect within the boxing community and that his name is now part of the sport's history.
I was hoping that there was more action coming from Canelo. You know, I'm used to Canelo fighting that way all the time. You know, he tried his best. You know, he always has trouble against movers. I was really expecting them to be more punches, more movement by Canelo. Yeah, I mean, it was a situation where Terence Crawford's a tactician, and he throws combinations and he moves. And then, if you try and exchange with him, he's gone already. So you got to be fast. You got to punch him when he's punching you.
Beating Canelo was never easy unless power played a major role in the fight. Early exchanges showed that his shots hurt, especially to the body, or when he got close to Crawford. When asked about Terence Crawford's surprising win over Canelo Alvarez, former heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis gave a straightforward opinion. He enjoyed the fight overall, but felt Alvarez didn't give his best effort. Lewis said he expected the Mexican star to throw more punches and move faster. Alvarez has often struggled against smooth and adaptable fighters like Crawford.
Like about many times, and I thought that this time he just boxed like he always boxes. And then I felt he couldn't really do nothing against Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford was too quick, too elusive. You know, anybody would find trouble with him, but Canelo couldn't find him. For Canelo to win a round, I say he won about 3 rounds in that fight. I was actually amazed at the way how Terence Crawford moved and never got hit, and threw combinations because that's what you're supposed to do, throw combinations. So he threw combinations. He wasn't trying to knock out Canelo, but he definitely was throwing a lot of punches, a lot of combinations.
This is what Lennox Lewis said after Canelo Alvarez lost to Terence Crawford. He explained that he had seen Canelo perform before and that this fight was similar to his usual style, but Crawford's approach demanded more. Lewis noted that Canelo struggled because Crawford's defense and quick reactions made it hard for him to land clean punches or take control of the match.
It's the morning after the big fight. Crawford Canelo. Shout outs to Crawford. You did it, boy. You did it. For those who still aren't quite sure what they witnessed last night, I'm going to let you know that you witnessed what is called a notorious boxing clinic. This is everything done right.
Most observers agreed that Crawford's speed, timing, and intelligence, not Canelo's power, decided the fight. Crawford made Canelo miss, putting him at a disadvantage and keeping the momentum in his own favor. Canelo landed some strong shots, but too many connected only when Crawford allowed it, which limited their impact. Physically, Canelo was perfectly suited for his weight class. Former unified welterweight champion Keith Thurman described Crawford's performance as a masterclass in boxing. He said it was more than just a win. It showed excellent fundamentals, precise timing, and calmness under pressure at the highest level. Many doubted that a super middleweight like Crawford could handle Canelo's speed and power, yet he did, while controlling the fight from start to finish, which Thurman highly praised.
This was a notorious hit and don't get hit. That's boxing 101, people. It's actually the definition of boxing. For those who don't know the definition of boxing, it's to hit and not get hit. It's almost like a game of tag, to simplify it for you folks, all right? And yes, Crawford was tagging him, not just with the jab, moving, but he was able to do another key factor, which is
Crawford's win didn't just change who held the belts. It also reshaped the story of who is the true super middleweight king, and it put Canelo's future in question. At 34, Canelo has fought at a high level for years, and this loss could be a turning point. Whether he comes back at a new weight or tries to reclaim his place will be up to him. He now has to accept that a fast, skilled, and unbeaten fighter defeated him on one of boxing's biggest stages. When asked about Canelo's punching power at super middleweight, Crawford stayed calm, noting that he had faced tough opponents before and handled them well. Timothy Bradley Jr. was asked what was at stake in the fight, and he didn't hesitate. He said this was more than just a major match, it was crucial for Canelo's reputation. Bradley explained that if Crawford had lost, his own image as Alvarez's benchmark would have suffered, especially since he moved up multiple weight classes to take on the challenge.
Power, like, have you been hit by anybody that strong before?
I've been hit harder.
No, in a real fight, not a sparring.
In a real fight. Avanesian, I mean not Avanesian, but Mean Machine hit harder than Canelo, to me. To be honest.
Terence. Congratulations.
That's the story. Terence Crawford did more than just win a fight. He made history despite all the doubts. Even though many didn't believe in him, he faced Canelo Alvarez and came out on top, proving that true greatness isn't limited by weight. Boxing is called the sweet science, and nights like this show why skill, heart, and history all matter. If you enjoyed this fight, click like and share it with the boxing fans you know. Leave your thoughts below. What do you think? Crawford's place is now among the all-time greats. Subscribe and hit the bell because the next chapter in this story is only getting better and you won't want to miss it.